In truth, the construction and implementation of the seal goes directly against the will of the people and our democratic ideals. Even among our group, some believe we should try to find a way to use the Oriole's power effectively. However, once it obtained autonomy, the Oriole began to change our society and our lives drastically. It did not just concern itself with our physical well-being, it considered our mental well-being to be a top priority as well. Welcome back to the Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky. We made our way through the Libra Arc tunnels last time, and if you look at the files here, so this is what level Olivier and Chloe were before we went in. This is what level they are now. Yeah, the Royal Band experience scaling definitely helps Olivier. But as we come out of these emergency tunnels, we've come to the residential district of the Libra Arc. Yeah, well, if you read the translated, or should I say deciphered data crystals, you probably know why at this point. So it's time to investigate. Can't even check that sign on the wall there. So yeah, you can actually get a map of this area, Residential Block Cradle. Seems like there are 3 houses that we can check out, but there are also enemies in this area. So yeah, this place is kind of like a really big town that happens to have enemies in it. And in here we want to check this out. Okay, unable to confirm ID. Your viewable entries are limited, so we can tell we're not the people who originally lived here. Check new recipes. Huh. Resurrect jelly. Copy data? I guess so. And yeah, super technology. Somehow this thing manages to copy it directly into the blank page of the recipe book that you have on your person. But it's a good thing we did that, because that was actually the last recipe we needed. We have everything now. Here is Resurrect Jelly. Restores overkill HP and is a revival item. So now that I've got all of this, I'm gonna have to go ahead and make all of these recipes to get the achievement. But I might save that for a little bit because we're about to get, well, you'll see. Read Crystal. Well, guess we don't really have a crystal that can be read. But there are 2 chests inside here, and I think one of these chests is one that I've been waiting for a long time. So, I said that the localizers of this game were probably big fans of Monty Python, and you're about to see it here. So I must preface this with a warning. If you speak German, you might want to look away as I open these chests, because reading the following text will kill you. And it's not this one. Wow, you're the first human to ever take something from me. I'm so excited. It's this one. Contains some Seepeth.
Dein ist das Nullstück, Gitt und Slottermeier. Ja, Feierhund, das Eure, die Flipperwald, Gesput.
Okay, so if you do speak German, that actually is just German gibberish, but that kind of deserves an explanation for those who aren't huge fans of Monty Python. That is a reference to a Monty Python sketch called The Funniest Joke in the World. It's, well, exactly what it says on the tin. It's about somebody who accidentally invents the funniest joke in the world and consequently dies laughing. And this happens during World War II, so the British decide to attempt to translate the joke into German in order to weaponize it. It's actually one of my favourite Monty Python sketches. I'm kind of a fan of the more obscure Monty Python sketches, and I believe I need to heal from after the tunnels. But yeah, that one and the sketch that's simply called Science Fiction Sketch are my two favorite Monty Python sketches. I think, yeah. I don't think I've ever actually properly seen the original Dead Parrot, which is the one that everyone talks about. But yeah, those two are my favorite Monty Python sketches. I like How Not to Be Seen as well, but I didn't discover that until a lot later. And we have these weird, hairy lump things. I do really like how most of the enemies in these areas are completely new, though. Like, too often, a lot of RPG Final Dungeons just have their enemies consist of palette swaps of enemies from earlier in the game, but not so much here. And most of the enemies that can be found in the Liber arc that we have seen before are ones that kind of explicitly bled over into reality while it was sealed.
99.
Looks like these things are worth quite a lot of Seepith too. Anyway, there actually are chests in the outer area as well, not just in the houses, so we'll need to be careful of that. Inside here, we have what seems to be like an old bar, which is pretty cool. Thank you for your patronage. Currently, due to system errors, items that can be selected are limited. Accept package. Okay then. With that, we get Data Crystal Z. It responded to something that we happen to already be carrying. So, he says that, but actually, we can use that crystal reader we found in the earlier house. And this is why I wanted to hold off on cooking stuff, because we get a whole bunch of cooking ingredients here. The chest wants to know what it's done to deserve such treatment. And even more cooking ingredients. This is because it's not easy to farm these ingredients at this point in the game. The looters in Calvard aren't this desperate. Well, I mean, the series hasn't even been to Calvard as of making this video, so we don't know how desperate they are. So yeah, a whole bunch of monster ingredients in here. The chest applauds your dedication to larceny. Okay, so if we go back in here and try and do read data crystal... This was clearly meant for someone else, but I mean, they lived hundreds of years ago, so they're not going to be using this anymore. That gets you a Zemurian ore. That's kind of a guide, dang it, but this is how you get the second Zemurian ore, and the dialogue does confirm this. You cannot get the second Zemurian ore without the first Zemurian ore, and you can't get the first Zemurian ore without all 14 Gambler Jacks. So, that's a little jerkish, but we have 2 of them now. And now we can safely go and take them back to Professor Russell. But before we do that, since I think I might be heading back to change up my party later anyway. Good time level up on Chloe there. We're going to explore the residential block a little more. Although something will eventually occur if we keep moving in this area. Another one of those things. Okay, this chest right here. Smelling salts. No! Give it back! That was my spleen! I believe in my first playthrough, I did not get the chest trophy because I missed one chest in the entire game. That was the one chest that I missed. So, yeah, that chest holds a special place in my heart. We also have these things. Bear Marath? Evil marsupial monster. And it's dead now. We'll be finding those more later, don't worry. Is Australia, like, the only, continent to actually have living marsupials still? Get a silk bag from the graveyard duck to loot longer. That's a reference to a line from Castlevania 2 that most people think is a mistranslation, but it actually isn't. In Japanese, it actually says duck too. the dialogue from the villagers, like, it's supposed to be a thing in that game that the villagers are all lying. So, inside here, we have another chest. Tier all balm. Empty, but that should come as no surprise. And another one of these terminals. Yeah, it looks like we can't do a lot here because we don't really have a proper ID. Bulletin board. Improvements to distribution service and gospel update. Here at LibreArc City, in order to ensure our citizens lead a pleasant, fulfilled life, we have established a distribution service offering music and images with a theme of healing, which has proven popular with the citizenry, but also with persons experiencing concerns regarding mental and emotional ailments. However, while this service offers a significant selection, it remains somewhat uniform and one-sided. As such, we have been receiving a great deal of feedback from the citizenry asking for it to respond to a wide variety of personal tastes. In order to accommodate these opinions, our city wishes to proceed with enhancing our services variety to provide all citizens with a satisfying experience. To that end, we will need to offer an upgrade to all citizens' personal gospels. We ask that you inquire at your local city government office and undergo upgrade procedures there. Furthermore, as this upgrade applies to all citizens, after a period of time, non-upgraded gospels will become unusable. We understand this may be somewhat problematic, but we sincerely ask for your cooperation. LibreArc System Administration Division. Yes, even ancient civilizations had planned obsolescence. That actually reminds me a lot of, I had to upgrade my internet recently because the original internet services in Australia are going to be switched off, like they probably will have already been switched off at the time I upload this video. So the moment that we enter this screen, we're going to be taken into a battle. Hey, look who it is! Seems it wasn't their time to be called up to heaven after all. Except, well, she will be soon if we don't intervene. And we might remember this thing from, I've never seen it do that before, that's cool looking. From the inside of the Glorious. They were behind electrical barriers and we couldn't fight any of them, but we can now. You know, speak of the devil and he shall appear. I feel like at this moment Josette's thinking, oh great, I'm dying and my last thoughts are a hallucination of her. But no, she's really here. And so, here we go. We have the Leo Gun EZ. And we also have a bunch of smaller Vogels here. Now, we need to protect Josette, and she starts off with half of her health. Thankfully, Josh was quick with the healing here. I'm sure she really appreciates this. Just like all of her wildest fantasies come true. Oh, great. Oh, it's Cyclone Lasering the other way. Good. Because, yeah, this is hard mode after all. And Josette is an NPC, although she actually is a little bulkier than your average NPC, which is good. Well, let's motivate everyone except Josette, because Estelle does not have any motivation for her. Okay, I think... Let's do this. Okay, if this doesn't kill all of the Vogels, then I'm gonna have to try and find some other way to take them out. Please kill the... Yes, it did. Good. That makes things easier. That makes things a lot easier. And does this work on you? I'm kind of hoping it does, because that'll help Josette's survivability a lot. Nope, does not work. That was worth a shot. Okay, do I have, like... I do. I can crest her. A day in the life of Josette, everyone. That should help a lot, and also the defense up icon is like up on the top of the screen. Move down. Well, I don't really need that if I'm going to be mostly hanging back and using arts. This thing actually has a pretty large amount of HP, Let's see what I got. I got Blue Impact. I can also Earth Lance. I think they do roughly the same amount of damage. Has a pretty solid amount of Arts defense too. Do I have Orbital down or no I don't? Yeah, just in case this ends up helping later. Oh, of course, if it's immune to those debuffs, it's obviously immune to speed debuffs as well. I'm an idiot. And obviously it would be immune to Orbital down as well, so let's just focus on hammering it with stuff. Okay, Estelle has full CP, so let's do a bit of damage here. I don't even know if I need to save it for a crit turn. I'm so used to Barrage that it's actually kind of interesting seeing her using that. It feels kind of weird that she finally has Wheel of Time. Okay, this Arts Barrage should hopefully do it. That's not good. Please don't kill Joshua. Yeah, that's fine. Yep, it's done. Good.
Well, that takes care of that.
Hey, Estelle leveled up out of helping Josette. That's, yeah, I'm not sure how she feels about that. I'm sure whacking it with Wheel of Time might have done a number on your staff. And once again, Joshua providing a bit of Ouroboros exposition because he was part of that group. Location defense, huh? That would imply Ouroboros is already entrenched in this area and is, well, defending it. So the Capua's crashed in a really bad place. Yeah, no thanks to Don's Gold Fever there. It's not often you see her emotional like this. This is definitely a, Estelle, you do realize I have a big stick moment. And so we've borrowed one of the, houses, which conveniently has exactly enough chairs for all of us. Yeah, Estelle and Joshua are pretty much officially together right now, so don't try anything. So that means 3 days have passed since the start of Chapter 8. Well, that would have been good to know before that happened. Yeah, Josh never expected them to directly fight the Society, so I guess that's why he never really warned them about them. Not to mention we could always use more allies in a place like this. They're probably the few allies we have here. Josette, please don't start this now. We're offering help. There's really no logical reason to say no at this point. But hey, at least the cell's nice enough to acknowledge that. So, we're actually looking for the Glorious right now. Yeah, of course, having Joshua here certainly helps convincing her, because she's always going to go with whatever he says. And so, this is about to happen. Oh, yeah, you say that now. Yeah, she surely is impressive in more ways than one, but, oh, you'll see. Josh was kind of oblivious here. Unknown love triangles. I thought Estelle was the oblivious one. This is also a line that kind of sticks out of my memory. Joshua, seriously? Estelle says, with a very creepy smile. So, we get to switch up our party. And Josette has joined us. Yeah. And I probably should, actually no, maybe I shouldn't have stripped Olivier's inventory. I'll just bring these two for now, because I can't resist turning this segment into Joshua's harem. I guess she knows this area better than we do. Or not. It's almost like this place fell into ruin somehow. Well, the weird thing is, we actually haven't had a chance to fully explore this district because we were interrupted by Josette being in danger. yeah, this scene becomes pretty great if you bring Chloe. So, yeah, this area. We haven't really been able to fully check this place. But first... My apologies if I get a little loud here, but, after all this time, after meeting her at the end of Chapter 1, and, like, her being a semi-important character for the entire duology, Josette Capua has finally joined us. So, how is she in gameplay? Well, funny you should mention that. Josette Capua is one of the worst party members I have ever had the misfortune of using in any JRPG ever. There, I said it. So, Josette is mediocre at physical attacks, pretty mediocre at defense too. Like, her defense is only a little bit above Chloe, and that's with armor. She's a few levels behind, but still. She uses the same orbital guns as Olivier, but her physical attacks kinda suck, and her speed is not all that great either. She also doesn't really have a lot of crafts, and she only has Chain 2. So you might think, oh, you know, with all that, obviously her casting would make up for it, right? Well, no. She has 2 lines, which is not great. And she has restricted Earth slots, but really the best that she can do is, wow, with Defense 4, her defense is still that bad. Ugh. Yeah, the best that she can really do is get Earth Wall. That's kind of the best thing that I can say about her. She's a mediocre caster and a mediocre physical attacker, and also, she has no S-craft. And on top of all of this, she joins you midway through the final dungeon. Like, Josette in this game is like if there was a Fire Emblem game and they gave you Est partway through Endgame, like the actual Endgame chapter, and she didn't even have good growth rates. Like, that is what Josette is. It's just like, ugh. Like, even with Mind and, I'm so sorry. Like, I wish she was better. Like, there was a lot of build-up to Josette joining the party. In fact, you might have been able to pick up on some of the signs. She had full voice clips in battle, and her brothers didn't. And, you know, like I said, she's been a pretty important character so far. Everything's been building up to this, and now she's finally with us, and why is she so bad? Ugh. Anyway, the Bobcat is here. And, remember how, like, if you checked out earlier, there was actually and by earlier I mean an FC, there was a heal point in the Bobcat? It's still there, so you can still use it. And, okay, we're all fully healed anyway, so there's no real need to use that right now. But, yeah, apologies for that rant, but, why? Josette is just like, yeah, Josette is, she's terrible, I'll just say. Outside normal service hours, boy, I'll say. This place just got sealed in another dimension and nobody lives here anymore. Okay, so we need to select direct service from the automated window in the back, just like it tells us. But, like, I do like all the effort that's put into, making this place feel like it was actually lived in. Okay, communication interruption with the access pillar. Services may be temporarily restricted. Database access. Halo Rail. About the Halo Rail. So yeah, this will give you a little bit of exposition on what the Halo Rail actually is. So yeah, like, you might have noticed the rails only appear when you summon one of the cars, so they don't take up any space. It's almost like they were built in a place that was powered by something with absolute dominion over space. So yeah, this is basically just justifying what we already did earlier, about emergency operations mode. Okay, good thing the power to the access pillar is cut or we'd never be able to use this. And yeah, we already know it's a station-by-station basis. Request gospel reprints. Due to current communication errors with the Axis Pillar Central Register, all reissued Gospels will be temporary. Please enter the name of the applicant for comparison to the local database. Who will make the request? Well, I guess let's try Josette. Please enter your name. Edelhoff? And, okay, this is really weird. For some reason in the PC version, a controller doesn't work here, or the keyboard. You actually have to use the mouse for this. It must be some kind of bug. B... Weissman. So there are two errors here. The name is mismatched, and Josette's, biology is not registered in their database. So, yeah. Josette failed at something again. I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry. Like, Josette's not a terrible character, but she's just really bad. But yeah, we need DNA that's recognized by this thing. So like the DNA of a citizen from the past, along with a name of a citizen from the past. Joshua recommends going back to talk to Professor Russell about this, and that is recommended right now. Because you can also turn in your Zemurian ores and get him to make an ultimate weapon. Gold gem. You obtain nothing! Absolutely nothing! S-tablet. Let's take all the typos we accidentally left in this game at launch and shove them all in here. Pretend they never happened. Oh, and the gold gem is, I can't use that on Chloe because she doesn't have any level 3 slots, but the gold gem is EP Cut 5. Art's EP cost minus 50%. That is insanely good, so no real reason not to put that on Joshua right now. I'll be putting that on Chloe or Olivier later once I open their slots, which we'll also need to go back to the ship for. But before we do that, let's check out a little bit more of this area. And I suppose we can also try and demo Josette in battle, even though it's not going to end well. I was kind of hoping that Joshua would instant death both of these things, and so Josette would not get a chance to show off how pathetic she is, but it looks like that may happen. This thing's like a mechanical version of the Roadrunners from the Ruin region. Anyway, Stampede at least debuffs the enemy's defense if they're not immune to it, and Anchor Flail has a cool description, but yeah. So you'd here's something that you'd expect Josette would be like a thief-type character, where she'd be able to steal things from enemies, and that is kind of true, but in the third game. So I've alluded to this before, but in Trails in the Sky the Third, you have access to every party member from FC and SC, as well as a few new ones, and Josette is one of them. Now, the good thing about the third is it actually showcases a lot of party members who were a bit underutilized in SC. So in particular, Josette is slightly better in the third, if only for the fact that you get her very early in the game. If you got her later, she'd probably be terrible. But in the third, she does learn an attack that steals items from the enemies, so I kind of wish she had that here. Then she'd at least have some kind of small utility. Anyway, though, if we head down here, we have another one of these access tunnels. And it's locked, so we're going to have to engage emergency operations mode for this station in order to open up that tunnel. And emergency operations mode for this station is going to help in one other way, too. Number 35. Wow, there must be a lot of stations in here. But conveniently, the area is kind of compressed for gameplay purposes. Limited capacity, blah, 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 blah. Oh, you can get a little bit of exposition here. Located on the south side of Libar, the Cradle District is the cozy, beloved home of the majority of the Ark's citizens. It is comprised of 128 blocks, each with its own Halo Rail station, public service buildings, city offices, and event halls, allowing citizens to enjoy everything the Ark has to offer, all close to home. As there are vacancies in a third of the blocks due to recent population changes, that's not ominous at all. Feel free to inquire about owning another home at the nearest city office. Emergency operation mode. Let's activate. So this will activate the Halo rail here, and because we now have 2 stations in operation mode, it means that we can now take the Halo rail back to the Park District. So we have sort of fast travel. Sort of fast travel. Let's not take that just yet, though. Because we need to unlock the tunnel to the next area, don't we? The online shop here, though, is a little bit different to the one earlier. We can buy Topaz Gem, Defense 5, or Terrible Gem. Let's not buy a Terrible Gem. We can also upgrade slots here, so we can finally get level 3 slots on Chloe. Wow, that's expensive. Yeah, Chloe and Olivier, obviously, their slots are pretty expensive to open because of, yeah, them being your primary casters. Gate lock release. In the event of a disruption, blah 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 blah. Warning! By order of the Axis Pillar, unlocking the gate will require identification. Please present your gospel for ID now. Ah. Yeah, this one's a little bit more complicated. And wait a minute, by order of the Axis Pillar? I thought the Axis Pillar wasn't working anymore. Just think on that for a little bit. So, what you're supposed to do here is go to Professor Russell and talk to him about how to get yourselves a gospel. But, we actually already have everything we need in order to get one. You just need to do a little bit of thinking. Think back to some stuff about the ancient civilization that we've read about, and the answer might become clear to you. I'll give you a few moments to think about this before I go ahead and jump the gun here, and sort of, it's not exactly a sequence break. You're given the option to both go to Professor Russell and get the hint, or figure it out for yourself now. So, pulling up a citizen from the past. We can't really do that, but we might be able to do the next best thing, and so let's engage in a little bit of ancient technology identity fraud. Let's have Chloe be the one to make the request, and let's have Chloe enter her name as Celeste D. Orsles. Are the benefits of the current royal family being direct descendants of people who lived here. Chloe now has her own gospel, albeit a temporary one. As in, you know, it must have teleported that from some kind of vault. We have original gospel. And yeah, not the artificial ones made by the Society. This is an actual, genuine one. And now we found out these things are basically just ID cards. It seems like they were. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that, like, this is following the fantasy laws of, like, genetics and inheritance, because, like, I've read a lot of things saying that, like, we all have DNA of people thousands of years in the past in us. Like, if someone who lived thousands of years ago had descendants, they would be a huge, huge number, not like a tiny, tiny limited bloodline. That's one of the many issues people pointed out with the Da Vinci Code. But at least in fantasy settings, you usually get people who are extremely similar genetically to, oh great, now I'm thinking of Jupiter Ascending. Where someone ends up being like an exact genetic copy of the mother of people who are ruling a galactic empire, and who... That movie is a modern Plan 9 from outer space in terms of how hilariously terrible it is. But anyway, actually wait, no, we can't do that yet. What we actually need to do is we need to go in here, and we need to go into items, and use the original gospel. And with that, and a frozen marsupial there, that is going to unlock the door. So, we have our path. So, no sign of Josette's family yet, or the Glorious. But what I'm going to do now is, I'm going to actually head back to Professor Russell. Because I want to turn in those Zemurian ores. So, you get 2 of them, and it's a little bit mean, because if you miss the first one, you can't get the second one either. So, yeah, as in the first game, the ultimate weapon is exclusive to you collecting all of the books. I just kind of spoil what the Zemurian ores are for, but it should be kind of obvious. I wonder if people could somehow replicate this on the surface. Yeah, I mean, this reminds me of the time that I was on a bullet train in Japan, and you could see surprisingly more of the scenery than I thought, considering how fast you're going in those. So yeah, basically we're unlocking fast travel points. Like, it is, this whole area I do find is just really... One thing that I really like about... I mean, I've already gone on at length about the atmosphere of this place. Like, I do think gameplay-wise, it is a little bit not the best as a final dungeon. Like, there are things I can go into a bit later, but, the positives, though, is just the atmosphere it creates, because whenever I get to this part in a playthrough of this game, the Liber arc always feels like I'm playing an entirely different game. It's just so different from everything we've seen before. Also, speaking of different, now we've unlocked more stations and come back here, you might notice things have changed a little bit in this area. Repairs are progressing on the ship, and people, yeah, as you can see there, Agate, Zien, and Olivier are now down there moving those fins, and there's less rubble around. So, more and more of the ship gets repaired the more you progress into the Liber arc. Faye's actually been surprisingly prominent in our journeys. Yeah, it's such a great thing that you came with us on our journey to an ancient city and got stuck here when the ship crashed. But yeah, what Josh was saying is very true. So you might want to save before talking to Professor Russell here. So the data crystal is important because it actually tells you how to make these weapons. Well, what a coincidence, we just so happen to have 2 of those. Nine, that may not cover all party members, but some party members use the same type of weapon. For example, the ultimate weapon for Olivier is the same as the one for Josette. This means you only get 2 of these weapons in the whole game. And so, yeah, we have Quillen Horn, Phoenix Blades, Sirius Whip, Eternity, Moon Singer, Demon Eater, Kowloon, Thousand Hands Cannon, Glittering Stars. So, I'm gonna just go for the cliche option here, and make ultimate weapons for Estelle and Joshua. The reason for that is that the other two party members that I'm thinking of bringing to the final boss are gonna be characters who don't use their physical attacks often, so they won't benefit at all from these. Now, with her ultimate weapon, Estelle actually does do respectable damage to some of the later bosses, so it does give her a bit of a niche in that case. And we have Quillen Horn, named after a Chinese slash Asian in general. I think it's a dragon horse hybrid. Or, you know, what they call giraffes. Because, I mean, it makes sense to call a giraffe a dragon horse hybrid if you're seeing it and it's kind of unfamiliar to you. Yeah, Kirin, like that's in the Japanese name of Giraffe Rig. Let's make the Phoenix Blades too. It's kind of an appropriate name for Joshua's weapon because Joshua has kind of been reborn. Yeah, I wish Quillen were in more things. It's a really cool concept and you don't see them that often. Like, I wish that there was a Kirin Knight class in Fire Emblem or something. Anyway, let's go ahead and equip this. Yeah, holy crap, is that a big strength increase. So, Estelle and Joshua are suddenly going to be hitting much, much harder. Also, that there is actually with the time gem. If I take the time gem off, Joshua's strength is way higher. So, with the ultimate weapons created, I'm gonna end things here. Next time, we will be exploring the second Libra Arc tunnels. See you all then.